All right. Today is July 4th, 2024, and I'm just sitting here. I don't know why I have these headphones on. I can't hear what I'm saying through them. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, well, I wasn't thinking, but what happened was the song's been going through my head all day. And I'm a big song person. I always talk about how um, I can pretty much have a song Rolodex going through my mind at all times. And I keep hearing the song The Blessing by Carrie Joe. And it talks about Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. And I love that song because then it talks about may his blessing go before you and behind you and beside you and 1,000 generations and your family and your family and your children and their children. And that's a big thing for me, is making sure that what I'm doing in the now is not just for me, but it's also going to be something that will benefit my children and their children. That I think about that a lot. A lot. And so this song always gets to me. And then I thought, you know what? I know that that's a Bible verse, but I didn't know where it was a Bible verse. So I looked it up and it actually comes from Numbers. This is number 6, verses 23 through 27. This is the priestly blessing. So the Lord spoke to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. You should say to them, may the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look with favor on you and give you peace. In this way, they will pronounce my name over the Israelites and I will bless them. And there was a little side note here in my study book, my Bible study book. It said Yahweh translated the Lord, like Lord in all uppercase letters. That's really important. Is God's incredibly unique name. The Israelites regarded it as so holy that they refrained from spelling it in its entirety or speaking it out loud. Instead, they referred to it as the name, Hashem, the extraordinary name or the infallible name. The priest only dared to utter name Yahweh when blessing the people. The high priest also spoke it annually at Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when he entered into the most holy place. And it kind of became a twofold thing that I started thinking about. Do we really, okay, as the young kids say, put some respect on my name? Do we put the respect on God's name that it deserves? And I'm speaking that back to me. Because I know when I'm stressed, I'll be like, oh Lord, help me. And in part, I'm earnestly asking that. But in part, has it just become a saying? Has it just become a normal thing? And God is anything but normal. He is anything but ordinary. He is extraordinary. He is amazing. He is extravagant. He's so much more. And so for one, I feel convicted about that. I feel convicted on not putting respect on his name. So that's one piece. A second piece is this. I keep reading this over and over and over, and it just started making me think, do our words speak life? And then again, the song Rolodex, speak life in the deadest, darkest nights. Speak life, when the sun won't shine and you don't know why. Like, are we pouring these blessings upon people? Are we speaking life into people? And I started thinking, how many verses really deal with speaking life in the Bible? And so I looked it up, and there may be more, but one website listed 75 Bible verses about speaking life. Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Meaning if you don't have self-control over your tongue, it has the power of death and life. Whichever way you go, you will reap. You will not reap, but you will, well, reap not the rewards. What's that old saying? You're going to get what you put out. You know what I mean? Luke 6:45, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. Edification meaning to build up, to correct, to teach, to uplift. You know what I mean? Proverbs 13:3. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. It's really funny. Not funny. It's God. I always say that. And I'm like, you know what? It's not funny. It's God. A situation today arose with my dad, and there were some things I needed to say, and there were some things I wanted to say. And after we had the talk, I spoke to a friend. I said, you know what? God held back some things, the things I wanted to say, the things that were not coming from a place of life, that were not going to be for edification or for uplifting or correction. It was to hurt. It was to give out the hurt that I felt, to make it equal, to make it even. And God helped me. He held me back from it. And a little while later, I got a call back from my dad. And without me even saying the hurtful words, I got the apology I needed for those situations and events that occurred. So what I possibly could have said from my mouth, words that came from my flesh, from my hurt, from my place of wanting to equal the sting, who knows what the actual outcome of that could have been had I said that in the place I was in the heart posture that I was in. God held me back from it, and I acknowledged that. I told my friend, God held my tongue a little bit in some different places. And God blessed me for it. I get that call. I get that apology that I needed, that the little girl inside of me needed. And I feel like that was God pouring his favor upon me, shining his face on me, being gracious to me. The hurt that I got the apology for is from that little girl. It was the hurt that little girl felt. And now, today, I get the apology I needed. And I get to heal from that. And you can't tell me that healing, restoration, if that's not God's favor, if that's not God's graciousness on us, if that's not God giving me peace, giving that little girl peace that has needed that over these years, I don't know what is. Proverbs 15:4, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perseverance in it breaks the spirit. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. When he shuts his lips, he is considered perceptive. Proverbs 17:28. That perceptiveness didn't come from me. That came from God. I can tell you that wholeheartedly. So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. James 1:19. And I love that because, oh my gosh, this happening today just pours into something else that I'm doing at church. Speaking on James, we are studying James, and Sunday we're going to be talking about James 3, controlling the tongue. Now tell me that wasn't timely, that this situation with my dad did not come at the appointed time it needed to, out of God's graciousness, out of his favor. And I'm experiencing that. I know that this came from God. And so now my prayer is that I can pour that onto my kids. That I'm going to speak these words of life over my kids and their children. And not just my kids biologically. I hope to be that in the life of my friends' children and their lives, my people. I want to make sure I'm speaking life. I want to make sure that I'm in tune, that I'm connecting with God in prayer and study and reflection. Making sure that I am speaking these words, thinking these words, filtering my words through this lens. And I don't know what the answer is to this, but I want to have more reverence, more respect for the Lord and his name. He carries so many names. I know that. But something about that has resonated with me, and I don't wholly have the answer to that just yet. I hope to study it out more and figure that out. What that means, what that looks like, what the application is of that thought. But I just want to encourage you today, really think about, are you speaking life? Are the people in your life speaking life into you? That's another one. We really need to be mindful of who we're around, who we allow to speak into our lives, who we allow to speak into our children's lives. Are they speaking life? Do their words, their actions, does it reflect that? Does it reflect, or is there fruit of this? That's just questions for reflection, for you to personally think about, for me to personally think about. But I just love that. I love God's timing and how things just start coming together. And so if you have time today, go check out that song, The Blessing by Carrie Job. I also like, I think, who it is, Elevation Worship, or I don't know, the other people who sing that song. And also Speak Life. Who sings that? Let me look that up real quick. Speak life, speak life. I want to say Matthew West, but I could be 100% wrong. Toby Mac. Go check those out. And so I'm just going to close out in prayer. I should have started with prayer. That's another thing that I've been convicted of and trying to work on, is starting my time in prayer, because there is a psalm that got me. And I shared it at church. I think it's Psalms 119:18. Open my eyes so that I may contemplate wondrous things from your instruction. That's what I want. And I need to do better about praying beforehand. But today, at least, I was cognizant enough and reflective enough to pray at the end. So, Lord, thank you for this time. I pray that you will help us all to speak life, dear Lord. Help us to reflect you and the blessings that you promise us. You are gracious to give, to fulfill our needs emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. You give us your grace. You give us your favor. You give us all the things we need that worldly compensation just can't compare. Help us to remember that, to seek what truly matters. Help us to be wise to those around us, and our families and our homes and our people, that they're speaking life as well, that we are all doing what is needed to uplift and to speak life into each other, that we can bless each other's in our words and our deeds, and that we can be good reflections of you, dear Lord, and the favor and the blessings that you have for us. Love you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.